Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of commodities, work our way through the dollar, precious metal or yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow, like we normally do. I'm going to interject my financial opinions as we go. If you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com. You can ask me questions during the question and answer sessions that we have at 5 p.m. on Sunday, Mountain Time. If you're a member, I'd love to see you there. Maybe I'll lead in with some training in the beginning, like I have been doing. We can talk about market conditions and risk, position sizing, stuff like that. So if you're interested, we do have a discount, LEAP, LEAP. Let's dive in. Let's see what's going on with the markets. I'll give you my short-term financial opinions of what I'm seeing in the markets today. So starting with the dollar is flat. And we're just kind of holding steady at this current time with the dollar. So I'm going to go right to the yields because the yields could be a further indicator of where the dollar could be heading based off of strengthening yields or weakening yields. So the 2 year, we were down a little bit today, but the momentum is still up in the short term yields. Could this be a reversal candlestick? It could, because we're seeing the long end of the curve kind of droop down today. So momentum still to the upside. We're looking for a potential turn if there's going to be one. The 10-year yield, it's down today, but it's still above support. Is it just a normal down day, or is there going to be some follow through that we could potentially see here? We did have a squeezing up here, and we popped out to the upside, but then we came right back in the pattern. So again, we're going to have to see which direction this thing wants to go. And it is a pretty strong down candlestick today, down 1.6%. The 30-year selling off even more, and perhaps maybe this was a pattern that looked like that squeezed up and we punched through it, which means we could see further downside as support could give way here, and we could see a further pullback in rates on the long end of the curve. Now, the weird thing is, this is a bear steepener. We've got the long end going down more than the short end. So the curve is actually still inverting further, which we'll go into. TYX, TNX ratio, the long end fell the most. We are still going down. And with yields coming back, sometimes gold doesn't mind that. Sometimes gold likes when TYX, TNX uninverts. This one, yields were down and we still inverted. And gold did pretty well today for that type of condition. Bond prices on the long end obviously going higher today, up 1.3%. As the long end of the curve yields fell, prices go up. And then the 10-year curve, the curve is inverting further. It continues to go up, and that's with the yield curve dropping. So it dropped, but the long end dropped more than the short end, which resulted in a yield curve that is still inverting. And what we're looking for, if we're going to get a recession, generally what occurs, let me back out real quick, is you get a rollover where people basically dive into the short end dives down. You'll see the Federal Reserve cut rates. You'll see the 2 year yield drop quite dramatically in comparison to the longer end of the curve, which is it's a lot more anchored on the long end. The short end moves a lot more freely. You'll see this dive generally before a recession, generally speaking. We're not seeing that. We are still going up. Gold up about $16, and it looks strong. Is this going to continue the momentum, or are we going to have yields continue higher or yields going to come back down? That I do not know in the short term. We have conflicting data. We've got the 30-year yield that looks pretty weak. We've got the 10-year yield that's still above support. And we've got the 2 year that still looks resilient. So it's a really tough read here. And it's holding steady. And if the right market conditions come, this could very well rip. When looking at silver, silver looks really good to actually rip to the upside. It looks very well poised for a move higher from the candlesticks and the way that they are aligning here. It looks very good. And I know that we're below the cost curves of a lot of these silver producers. So my opinion is the physical metal would be a really good spot to be looking at it right now. No advice. That's just what I think and what I would do. Platinum's still holding on. It's up a little bit today, but it's above support. Everything looks all right. And then we've got palladium up a little bit, which I think is putting in a bottom at some point here. We need to create a higher high first, which we created a higher high here. But the problem is we created a lower low. So we haven't bottomed yet. We're still in that bottoming process. We do not have an uptrend yet. XAU to gold ratio, people were putting money into gold and silver mining companies at and push that up at a faster rate than gold itself. And is this going to be a bottom here? It very well could be. We need to continue to monitor the market conditions and see where yields go. But again, we are still underneath all of the big trend line, which is this trend line there. We're still below that. That's our happiness line. We haven't broken that yet. CRB index, we did have oil down today. We are still squeezing up. It looks like we're squeezing into like this corner here uh, going on. So CRB index was down. We've got the CRB to S&P 500 that was down too. Are we going to get another leg lower in this movement here? We'll see. Let me put a fib retracement on this bad boy here. We were kind of paused at 0.618. Maybe we come back down to 0.786 with, I think oil's going to hold steady, but the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, a lot of momentum behind that. We'll see where it goes. GDX is up 1.91%. It doesn't look that bad. It doesn't look great, but it doesn't look bad. It looks like it's trying to do something. We'll see what yields do. GDXJ also has that nice little hammer candlestick. Maybe we can get some, a little bottoming out of this if the buyers decide to step in. It's not a strong reversal candlestick, and we still have pretty strong selling pressure on this guy. So we need to wait and see. SILJ is the same thing. I like the candlestick that came out today. It's a hammer candlestick, looks good. But are yields actually going to fall? Are we going to get the right market conditions for these to go up in? That I do not know yet. We're going to have to wait and see. Crude oil getting a lot of selling pressure today, down 2.65%. But nothing is broken here. We still have shoulder, head, shoulder that's basically developed. Yeah, we're at resistance, that strong resistance line, which is the white line there, and we are getting some selling pressure, but we got to see follow through for me to get more bearish here. If I see follow through here and I see yields drop, gold's going to be game on. If I see crude oil firm here, like let's say we only come down here and it kind of loops back up, I would say yields are probably going to go higher and oil's going higher. So we're right at resistance. We had a strong selling pressure day today. I'm not convinced that there's going to be any follow through yet. We got to see that. And that's what we're waiting for. And one thing that you can look at to see is what's the positioning that is occurring in the ETFs. XOP, our boy XOP and OIH over there. And we'll take a look at it. ETF nat gas is up a little bit, but it's been in a strong downtrend. It is still getting ravaged by warm weather. And natural gas in America down quite a bit, definitely filling a bunch of gaps. We were down 8%. Like I said, this is going to take some time, I think, to bottom out, and I still have that opinion. Our boy XOP, yeah, you know me, actually holding up very well today, only down 0.5%, with oil down 2.63%. It's almost like somebody pushed oil down, but they were accumulating the underlying equities. which I like. Makes me think that interest rates are going to remain robust, maybe. Now, this isn't an interest rate driver. I should say interest rates can fall and this can still go up, but there is a correlation between oil prices and interest rates. They generally move together. Oil leading the interest rate path. But XOP looks fantastic. It was very resilient today, and that's generally what you see in a accumulation. Someone's accumulating something, and this looks like to me an inverted head and shoulders that has a neckline that we are trying to break, and we've got pretty good monthly candlestick developing. Let's look at the weeklies here. Weeklies still looks all right. OIH also holding on quite well. We have a back test today, which ran into this line here, and everything looks good. We're sitting on top of the trend line, using it as support. We used it as support today, and it was not, it was down 0.6% on a pretty strong selling pressure day in crude oil. So I think it looks fantastic. I think it's ready to try to work its way on up if it wants to go. Physical Uranium Trust not looking very good. This is definitely getting some selling pressure here, and it's got some strong selling pressure. There is some dumpage going on, and that does look like we could continue lower the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. URA also getting some strong selling pressure. You can see the big red candlesticks. This does look like we're going to get a bigger pullback, and generally you're going to get the strongest wave of selling pressures the first kind of down leg, which we're getting. And I think this is probably going to have a couple of down legs in it. Uranium also selling, very strong selling pressure. And it does look like that can continue to the downside, unfortunately. And then we've got URNJ, which also has some strong selling pressure behind it. And I do think that that selling pressure could continue into the future. A lot of the times when I see these, we could see something that goes up. Then we do this. And I don't know if it's going to go that low. I'm just telling you that's kind of what I normally see in a lot of these patterns. TAN down 1.5%. It is continuing lower, doesn't look too hot. And I know these companies don't make a lot of money. Anything that doesn't make a lot of money, it looks like it's getting sold off. Copper is still looking resilient above the trend line, and it's just sitting right on that trend line. Doesn't look too bad. Copper. COPX, the equities are getting bought up 1.25% in the face of copper selling off today. So I think copper miners are going to go higher. I think it looks good. Much like the energy sector looks good. Because when you see the underlying physical futures pricing metal go lower in the equities, people are positioning in the equities. Lithium up a little bit. It's still holding on. I don't know if I try to jump in here or anything. It still looks like it needs to base out. REMX, the same thing, down a little bit today. It doesn't look horrible, but I mean, maybe we're trying to put in kind of a little inverted head and shoulders where we start to head on higher. S&P 500, it's down a little bit, but that is a bloody nose, and we'll see what occurs here. We are up against resistance. Then we're down a little bit more, and we're up against resistance for technology index, NASDAQ. We've got KRE down a little bit. It looks still good to go higher. That's still holding on with pretty good holding pressure there. Good support. Emerging markets just moving sideways. So that still looks all right. We've got XHB still working its way on up. That actually looks pretty strong and good, especially if you take it from a little bit longer perspective, like a weekly candlestick. That looks very strong to continue higher. For the home builders, Moo still going on up. This looks really good. It really does. It looks like it's trying to put in a bottom and eventually work its way on up. It may not be just straight up, but iron ore just moving sideways. The momentum's to the downside in iron ore still. No reversal candlesticks. We've got aluminum down a little bit. We've got nickel too. It looks like nickel's putting in a bottom, just to let you guys know. Nickel does look like it's trying to put in a bottom here. That looks a lot better than before. Baltic Dry Index, it's working its way on up. Big move today, 4.5%. Looks pretty strong to continue higher. and the dry bulk shipping companies look pretty strong. Newcastle coal up 0.36%. Looks pretty good to try to work its way on higher. This is starting to turn around. We're getting the big green army starting to show up now, which is generally a bottoming pattern. I think eventually it will turn its way up and gone up. Bitcoin down 1.2% roughly, and a little bit of selling pressure. It's not a huge down candlestick. I think everything's still intact at the moment. Ethereum also getting a little bit of selling pressure, but it's not a big down candlestick. It looks okay at its current time. There's no reversal candlestick yet. And then SMCI, which is your super microcomputer. I just want to go over this to show you guys. To me, this looks like almost like a double top or something that is occurring, but I would not touch this thing at all with the volatility. That volatility generally kicks up towards the top. Nvidia too. Let's see what Nvidia did today. I know a lot of people are following this. It gapped up in the morning and then ended down, momentum to the downside. So I wouldn't touch this one either. It's pretty overvalued. So that's what I've got for today, guys. Give me a thumb up for the content, subscribe to the channel, and subscribe to the website if you'd like. Use LEAP, LEAP, for the coupon code if you want a discount and to try it out. It's 50% off just for the first month on the monthly membership to try it out, or you can get a bigger discount in the yearly discount. And if you want to go from monthly to yearly, go ahead and use the bigger discount and do that if you'd like. Want to save some money. But that's what I've got for today, guys, and we'll catch you at 5 p.m. on Sunday. Catch you later. This is Finding Value.